Good evening, race fans. Welcome to Italy here as we are at the beautiful Autodromo del Mugello, and this is a fun little track. And if you tuned in at all to the CRN last night, you got to see some great racing action here, as this track has plenty of S-turns, a few hairpin turns, and long straightaway here to decide at a big braking zone into turn number one. But just like me, these drivers are under the weather here tonight. At least for me, it's only a little bit of a cough. These drivers have a ton of rain. It is not going to be anything like last night. The only thing that is going to be the same as last night is, well, the track layout. The track has not changed, but where you're taking the corners, where you're braking, where you're entering, how much you're getting on the gas, everything is going to be different here for the Core GT series, as this is round number 3 here for the series. If just want to double check that, yeah, it is round number 3 for the series here in the Core GT, and brought to you live by CRN. Coral Hamwork joined in the booth by Jimmy Covert, and also a special broadcaster here tonight going to join us, and possibly going to be joining John the rest of the series, as John could not cover here tonight. But Tyler Skozen in the booth with us here tonight. Jimmy, we'll start with you. Obviously, you've had plenty of experience in the rain here, and the GT series. And these GT3 cars is not easy at all.
Yeah, you put an egg underneath your foot on both feet so you can relax and just take your time. It's more about self-control of the car, and once you figure out where those wet tires can get grip, you can really get some decent laps around here. And if you're consistent, you can really push forward. It's like a general equalizer, because there's no more cutting the corners, there's no more getting down on them apexes, because there's huge puddles that will send you flying.
So Tyler, I know you're a bit more of an oval guy, but you said you had some experience in the Daytona 24 and having some rain experience in the Spa 24. So a little bit out there, and I'm sure you got a little bit of an idea of how different it is driving in the dry compared to the wet.
Oh my God, yeah, it's unbelievably crazy. Yeah, the wet is just so tricky, but it's all about patience. That's the only thing I'd be careful with. You gotta let the car do its own thing. Drive it, don't overdo it, just enjoy it. Be careful, you don't want to be tricky, you don't want to do anything special here. Just try the racing line, wait for everything to dry out, let things happen, and eventually it'll get better.
I think the only thing I heard, and I couldn't stop chuckling in my head, is enjoy it. I don't think these guys are going to enjoy too much of this here tonight. It is going to be survival. It's only a 1-hour race like usual, but man, it is going to be a 1-hour endurance. It is going to be a test of the mind, a test of the skills. It's going to be interesting. So thank you for tuning in to CRN here tonight. If you haven't done so yet, hit that like and subscribe, and get in touch with everything that CRN has to offer. But we are done with the 1 hour of open qualifying. It's time for the order here tonight. Jimmy, why don't you give us a rundown?
I'm waiting for things to populate here, and it's not doing it, but I'll give you a rundown.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, we do have a little bit of time. Yeah, because it's the hour ends, but it's actually not finished until the last guy crosses that line. But yeah, I mean, jumping back to the track itself, Mugello. I mean, Jimmy, any experience here that you could kind of give an idea what the driver should be out there looking for tonight?
I mean, Carl,
besides survive.
I mean, it is a big survival, and there's some tricky corners that they need to work with. So I don't have the thousands of laps on this track, as it's one of the newer tracks in the service, but it's definitely a challenge. Dry and can be tricky, and let alone wet, adding that extra people being cautious. And we're going to see plenty of I'm sure replays and whatnot on the track to see where everybody's going, but definitely going to be an interesting one here. They're definitely going to need to use every single bit of skill that they've learned, either from previous sessions, and hopefully some of these drivers got some rain time. I do know at least some of the gold drivers that partake in the endurance series, we get thrown rain all the time, so it is different, and I was just watching a video of one of a sim racer that went racing in real life, and obviously his biggest fear, rain. And hates to admit it, but he even slowed down on a straightaway in real life because he could not see. So it's that scary. And at least we're in a sim and nobody's going to get hurt, but it's definitely going to take a lot of patience, and the anxiety is going to be really high tonight.
Real quick, we'll give a rundown of the points leading into tonight after 2 races. Dominic Ford leads the overall and the gold with 103 points, 8 points over Mason Smith, and 25 over Parks de la Cruz. Silver division is led by James Pierce, 25 over Saj Padiyar, and 43 over Craig Potter. And then CJ Conklin leading the bronze division by 10 over Steve Santana and 12 over Alex Jaspers. And the oval side of it, you have guys that are good on short tracks, and you occasionally have the other road courses. You have guys that are good on road courses when you have an oval series. In horse racing, you have horses that are known as mudders. They're good in the mud. For road racing, you do have guys that are a little bit better and just a little bit more cautious, a little bit more patient with the throttle. I mean, do we call them rainers? Do we call them wetters? I don't know. I think we need to have have some kind of name for them, because there are some that the cream will rise to the top. But we already have the qualifying done now and setting the grid order. So now, Jimmy, why don't you go ahead and give us a rundown?
Yeah, we'll go ahead and set up this order. It took a little time here tonight, but I think I got the colors to everybody's liking, hopefully. So I'll pass that along to John here for the next series. But on the pole will be Ricky Rayner, and then followed by Mason Smith, then Jack Stoneman and Jose Murray, Powell Casca, Jack Peterson, Tyler Kokeko, Dominique Ford for row number 4, row number 5, Braden Carlson with Eric Martin, row number 6, Sam White and Nathan Sides, and then to the next bunch here. Be when row number 7 will be Michael Zepp and Steve Santana, row number 8 Nathan Nickerson and Alex Jaspers, row number 9 Sahad Padiyar with Craig Potter, row number 10 Kelly Pointer and Tim Thompson, row number 11 James Malino and Avi Vishwavasan, row number 12 will be CJ Conklin and John Crane, and that will be our 12 rows of car. 24 drivers out here tonight to take on Bahrain and Italy here at Mugello.
So the one thing that is nice about the series here is there's no practice, and let me clarify that in the fact that there is just open qualifying. So these guys get 1 hour straight to qualify. They can put in as many laps as they want. They can put in 1 lap and park it if they want to. But what it does is it gives everybody an hour to qualify and try and put in their best time. But it also, there's nothing that's going to change. You're not going to change from practice to qualifying. It's just one straight 1 hour session to get used to it and try and do what you can, and hopefully get a little practice around some other drivers out there. But Tyler, in a race like this, if you have a rough qualifying out there, maybe you didn't put in your best lap, your mid-pack or towards the back of the pack, how is it on lap 1 here? How is it, what are you looking for on lap 1, turn 1 here? Is it just, stay out to one side of the track or the other and try and survive? Or are you looking to maybe, grab a few positions? Because obviously passing here is not going to be easy. Is you don't really want to go to the normal racing line on the inside. It's going to be too wet. So almost one line through these corners.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see what drivers decide to do here. I think it's going to depend on their driving style, because, you're going to want some guys who are going to want to be patient here, because if you're starting far in the back, you're going to have a lot of spray. So that's going to make a lot of these things a lot more tricky. But if you think about it, some drivers are probably going to want to gain some positions quickly, because the more we go on, even though it is still pouring and it's going to be wet this whole race, you're going to maybe want to gain spots, because the track might dry out at some point, and it's going to get quicker as the day goes on. So who knows with how much this rain is going. If you want to gain positions and be up front while the track is getting dry and quicker, it might be better to be up front. But if you want to be in the back, I think drivers are going to be exactly what you said. They're going to be wary. They're going to be careful. It might get treacherous in turn 1. I am a little bit worried.
Yeah, from what I've seen on the radar, it doesn't look like there's any kind of let for these boys. But, if it's anything like the weather I've been dealing with here, every day it says it's going to rain. It doesn't rain today. It was supposed to be nice all day, and it rains. So, I don't know. I feel like that's got to be the easiest job in the world, being a weatherman, because you wake up in the morning, you spin a wheel, and whatever it lands on, that's what you say the weather's going to be that day. That's the best they can do. You can look at the radar all you want, but it seems like more often than not they're wrong. So, whoever developed the percentage system for weather and for rain and everything like that is got to be a genius, because all you got to do is go out there and say, yeah, it's a 70% chance of rain, and well, I guess it was that 30%, it just didn't rain today. But from all accounts, it looks like it is 100% of rain here tonight, 100% of wet track, and 100% of terror for all 24 of these drivers out here tonight. And I'd ask everybody out there who you got. Maybe I should ask, who do you think is going to survive? Who do you think can get this thing to the end and make it? And maybe we take an over-under on the amount of X these drivers are going to take. It's going to be pretty crazy out here tonight, but 1 hour on tap as usual, and it's not going to be easy.
No, it's not going to be easy at all as they're starting to warm up here as they come in the final corners here, and some of these drivers might hope that this is the race pace.
And it very well might be. I mean, there's definitely going to be some corners you're taking it very, very slow as it's treacherous. I know through the second, or not the third S turn, it was absolutely drenched watching these guys in practice. And typically, you'll see some heavy puddles on the insides of the corners, and you want to take to the outside of the corners. That's actually where you're going to find more grip and not hydroplane as much. But I mean, in that little S section right there, it looked like the entire track was just a hydroplane waiting to happen. But it is going to be Ricky Renner here on the pole, along with Mason Smith, and a few of these guys. I mean, you see a lot of these rookies up there at the top of the boards, and they're only going to be rookies for so long. Once they have those 5 races in, they will fall into a division. But a lot of right up there, a lot of rookies up there. So we'll see how they can handle it on this first lap. But as you see, pace car lights are off. We are coming to the very, very, very long front straightaway here. And take a look at the cars now, because once they fire off and that mist gets up in the air, you're probably not going to see much.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to see. There's a lot. As a matter of fact, I got a pretty decent computer, and at times you might get a couple stutters here and there. So bear with us as the rain is pretty taxed. We're going to try to bring the highest graphics, but they're already making moves here as the green flag starts so they can see.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times they fan out here a little bit, but I think this fanning out right now is just so they can see them. And you see all that mist right there. And once the race gets going here, we'll try and do a little replay of some of the guys in the back and see what they're looking at in the turn 1. But you see already Mason Smith going a bit wide in the first corner, as was I believe that might have been Jack Stallman. But it looks like all the dots are still moving, Jimmy. Everybody survived turn 1. Now we tippy-toe through 3 and 4, and I mean, I almost feel like I need to give a standing ovation right now. We've made it through the first 3 corners, and I mean, we had a few, wide runs in turn 1, but we're all still pointing the right way.
Yeah, I mean, if they got out here and got the practice in, the biggest thing is kind of staying on the pedal. You see one of the 2-on-2 guys getting a little wide, and I see some action going on back there. But so
it looks like okay, go off the track there.
Yeah, so we'll go back and catch that here just shortly, but it looks like he's still going. 2x2 action going on, so some of these drivers really taking advantage of maybe some of others, that intuition of being a little bit scared and edgy. But you can see a lot of Porsches out here. Another Porsche seems to be one of the better rain cars.
It's there. Very cool right there. Eric Martin going off the track, and man, yeah, it's in real life you get that kitty litter right there. You're not going anywhere. So at least in the virtual racing here, it doesn't dig in as deep once you fire the tires up there. But he's going to rejoin the track all the way dead last, but kept it off the walls, kept it nice and clean. And I mean, can't throw it away just yet. I mean, that could end up being a top 5 position the way this track is handling here tonight. But out front, Ricky Renner getting a good run here, about to complete lap number 1, and that's one of the things. I mean, the lap times are going to be mighty slow here tonight. Going to be less laps on the cars, and still going to be looking at a pit stop out here tonight. But I mean, if you really save, maybe you can reach this thing all the way to the end. But it's going to be tough. But a good start from the front guys here: Ricky Renner, Jack Stone, Mason Smith, Dominique Ford, and Jose Maury. Your top 5.
A lot of good things going on right now. I'm seeing names kind of bouncing back and forth just a little bit here and there, so I'm just going to kind of flop through the field. So if you're out there rooting for somebody, please put it in the chat and let us know who you'd like to see and where they're at, because sometimes you can't see them. You see all that spray coming down as the cars reach higher speeds. That spray gets really high and really limits how much you can see in front of you in real life, and I'll definitely hop on board some of those drivers here that are running in pace so you can at home see what it's like. So I'll go ahead and do that now. Matter of fact, walk down the cockpit here with Sean White as he's back just a little bit from his competitors, but you can see the trails of the cars in front of him, how much the rain is affecting the windshields. So plenty of things the drivers need to think about here tonight I'll see if we'll move up. The next couple cars will go jump on board here with Sahaj Patiar. He's a little bit closer, 2 cars fighting in front of him, and that's going to be Braden Carlson and Jack Peterson. So, and you know, that separation there, Carl, is only about a second. So, but you can see how hard it can be to see. You know, when iRacing first came out with rain, it was either full mist or no mist. So at least they've made it to where when the cars slow down, it diminishes. So now the drivers you can see the blinking lights there, meaning that the track is wet on the car as well. So Sahaj got to go for a pass on the outside there of Braden, but not quite making it work, or can't get the grip down yet. So down they go through on the corners here. I don't know them all off the top of my head yet. Heck, I don't even know any of them.
Yeah, I mean, I credit you for finding a pass on the track. I mean, I think we're going to see too many of those here without somebody making a mistake. But yeah, it looks like Sahaj making that pass there on Braden Carlson to move himself up into 8th place. When we get a chance, I definitely want to go back and take a look at that start from the cockpit of one of the guys towards the back, and just to see the white wall that you're driving into. And right now it's been a good race. I mean, only looks like the 616 of Craig Potter in pit lane and getting back going right now. I don't see anybody else that really had an issue. Craig Potter had to tow back to pit, so certainly some issues there. But you know, a few guys heading off track here and there. You see right there, Kelly Pointer heading off track, and
I was
of
just
course right at the right time.
Right.
And
I was going back to over. Let's see what now. I got to scroll all the way back.
Well, I think we need to, if you hit the green flag instead of the gridding, that would probably end up doing it. But yeah, right here is the incident between Pointer and did not get to see who that was. It might have been Michael Zepp at the back there. And it is treacherous out there. There's no other way to put it. This is a survival right now. Yeah, Michael Zepp getting sent into the wall. Doesn't look like any parts flew off the car, and maybe that's one thing that's good about the rain here. Maybe they just slide off those tire barriers a little bit more.
I mean, it can. You get out there in that grass, and if you're, been on iRacing at all, remember how slick that green grass used to be in the dry weather? Well, now it goes back to that when it's wet. So it's just like ice out there. Very hard to control. If you're from the north and you're driving snow, it's just like ice. So these drivers have a lot to deal with tonight, with a lot of patience and real, hitting their marks and being consistent and trying to, be better than the driver in front of them so they can catch up and maybe make a position. Right now it is Ricky Renner. He's out to a nice little comfortable lead. He's got a 2.5 and clear skies for for him. As you can see, he's just got to deal with a little bit of windshield wiper going back and forth on his view, but doesn't have to worry about the spray. But people following behind him there. You see you got Mason Smith all as well. You can see how the spray just kind of kicks up. So Mason's got to deal with that, but I'm sure Mason's just biding his time. There's plenty of time remaining in this race. Still have 53 minutes remaining. We do have another crash here back with James Malino. See what happens here. Corner. It gets just a little bit of that water, scoots out just a little bit, wraps it up there with, I think that was Keiko, I believe.
Yeah, it looked like it was Sadako Keiko right there. So Tyler, 7 minutes into this race here, I know you're more the oval type of guy, and maybe kind of scaring you away a little bit. I mean, these are the actual worst conditions you can have out there on the track. I don't think it can be any worse than this. I guess maybe if we made them drive on dry tires, it could get worse. But I mean, your first experience up here for CRN, and we put you right here at the most treacherous kind of situation here, but these drivers handle it pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate it because this is the best. This is where I learn everything right away. But no, I mean, as we've gone on these past, I guess not 8 minutes so far, two of the real big things that I easily noticed so far is that first off is how confident are you, especially when it comes to the braking, and especially for guys up front like Ricky Renner leading right now. He's got clear track right now. He's got nobody in front of him, so he doesn't have spray to worry about whatsoever. So that means he's probably going to be a little bit more confident on his braking because, you know, you can see right here, Jose Mari right here, you can see the puddles on the inside towards the paint right now. So you're going to see a lot of these drivers not really run in the optimal lane. They're going to just try to run where there's not much standing water. And that was something that I learned heavily when I was racing at Spa myself because of how treacherous that rain was at times. So you're not going to want to be in the optimal line because, like we saw earlier in the wreck with Michael Zeff and Kelly Pointer, you know, it looked like Pointer just like, you know, sailed into the corner too much. So like the brakes weren't as confident in that car right away. Like see right here, you can kind of little bit wide. You see kind of took that inside, got close right there. Steve Santana got really close to that paint, kind of got in the racing line, which is really not what you want to do. So car's not going to like that. And I assume the more you go, you know, you'll get more confident in it, and we'll see how it goes in these last 51 minutes.
And it's one thing when you come to a track. I mean, if it's a new track, and this is certainly newer to a lot of drivers, and maybe there's a first experience that they have here at Mugello, and maybe they'll never want to come back after this. But you have to learn the track, and typically you're trying to learn what the fastest line is, and your fastest line is usually going to be in the inside the corners. Now you come to a track like this where it is completely wet, like you said. Your optimal line is not the optimal line for the rain. You have to drive almost the complete opposite way, and it's difficult. And I still struggle with it myself because everything that you know about racing is try and go the shortest distance everywhere. The shortest distance is the fastest way. It is, but it's not the fastest way. It's the shortest distance is going to be a lot shorter, but it's not the faster way because you get in that little bit of puddles on the inside. If you can make it through, great. Maybe you shaved off a tenth of a second, but more often than not, you're going to catch it wrong. You're going to goose the throttle up a little bit too early. You're going to hydroplane. It's treacherous, and you can see these guys at least having two wheels to the outside of those inside puddles. And again, you're taking a track. If you never learned it before, okay, you're only learning it one time. You're learning it kind of backwards. But if you already know the track, you have to relearn it. It's like you're driving on a brand new track. Yeah, the turns go the same way, but you're taking it completely different, and you almost kind of have to train your mind to think, okay, what's the slowest way I can go around this corner, because that's the way I got to take.
Yeah, and I just kind of wanted to point it out because this is at least a saying that I learned quite a while ago when I started, you know, getting used to this road course racing. Obviously, it wasn't in the rain, but sometimes you just gotta go slow to go fast. I'm sure plenty of people have heard that saying also before, because sometimes the slower you are, you'll see, you know, you'll progressively get better as you see a car is off the racetrack right there. But yeah, sometimes you're just going to have to relearn pretty much everything you knew, as we'll see Craig Potter here. You can see he is on that paint right there. He washed up just a little bit, and it looks like he may have just gotten a little bit too much standing water there. A little bit of right side contact. Don't know how much that affected the right side. It looked like it was a pretty decent hit overall, but yeah, pretty much you're just going to have to throw everything you knew out to the window about road course racing and just do the complete opposite.
Well, I think that, you know, Jimmy, you can echo this too. When you lose the car on rain like this, 9 times out of 10 you're not saving it. You know, you lose you get a little bit slippery on a dry track, and you know the back end kicks out a little bit. You lose the front end, whatever it is. You can save it. There's a chance. Most of the time, when you get a little bit loose or a little bit wrong into a corner here on the rain, you're just kind of holding on for dear life.
Yeah, you really do hold you try, they tell you to drive light-handed, as they call it. So you don't want to be death gripping, and you want to breathe through the corners, you know, so you can react. But it really does take a lot of concentration from these drivers to just maintain and try to see where they're going, remember the track, remember where that water's sitting. It is very important. You talked about a little bit of standing water, and there's been a couple views I've been watching in some of the cameras. You can even see the water running like across the track, like legitimately running. So I mean, it's not going to stop, and you know, these drivers really got to find you know, their line that works for them. And you talked about not, you know, it's obviously not the optimal line, it's the rain optimal line. So you've seen a lot of maybe rookie drivers or lower class drivers run up towards the front because more than likely that's probably closer to their normal racing line than the gold drivers, where they're running the whole track, they're cutting corners. That has gone away for those drivers, so they really have to kind of go back to driving almost like somebody that's new to racing, and just trying to stay on the paved part and stay off the pedals.
13 minutes now complete here in the race. It is Ricky Renner out front, but not by much. Mason Smith keeping him within check, about 0.8 of a second behind him. You see the gap right there, and Mason's still dealing with that spray, but it also means that he's close enough to deal with that spray behind Ricky Renner. Then you got to look about 10 seconds back to third place. Jack Stoneman back there in third. Another 3 seconds back to Dominique Ford. And then another 7 seconds back to Jose Mauri. That is your top 5, but separated by a good amount of time right now. I mean, 20 seconds separating the top 5 right now. And again, we got a little over 45 minutes left in this race. So Cream rising to the top, but I mean, that can go by the wayside very quickly with one little mistake. So again, I think these drivers do have a a throwaway race. They have a drop race in in the season here, and actually I believe they might even have 2 drop races here in the season. You don't ever want to just kind of throw it away and you look at this race here tonight. No, it's raining. It's gonna suck. It's not gonna be fun. So I'm not gonna show up. I'm just gonna use my drop race and not show up and save myself the headache. And maybe in the long run, it may be the better thing to do. And you'll be pulling your hair out after the race, but you got to get used to it. You got to figure it out, and one way or another, eventually you're going to find yourself in this situation again, and you can't just shy away from this. You got to try and get out there and do what you can. And as Chris Hamilton always says, you win the championships on your worst nights, and if you can save that drop race for another bad night, it's certainly better off than just not showing up at all.
Now, I do want to bring this up because this is something that I've noticed, at least right now, with Ricky Renner leading right now. He's got about I guess as of now, about a 1 second lead or so, maybe a little bit less over Mason Smith right now. And I'll hand this over to one of you because you have more experience than I do. But in these tough conditions that Ricky's dealing with, he's got nobody in front of him. Mason has 1 car in front of him, so he's kind of being able to judge a little bit off of Renner's lap times. He can see where his weaknesses are. He can see where his strengths are. But I wonder, at this point in the race, with still plenty to go, does Ricky start to push it? Does he try to make a big gap over Mason, or does he have a little bit of pressure on his shoulders right now? Is he kind of keeping his eyes on that rearview mirror, or is it all out the front windshield?
I guess when you're out there in the lead, obviously you want to stay out front. You're just going to keep drive the way you need to drive right now, and it's fast enough to be in the lead, and he knows Mason's back there, and if you've raced around Mason enough, you know that he's one of the cleaner drivers out there, and he's always going to sit there back there hungry, wanting to win, but he's going to wait. He's going to sit back there. He's not going to push it, because right now he's sitting in P2. He's looking at a good finish, kind of thinking a little bit a larger game, over this situation here tonight, but he's going to keep himself close, so he gives him a chance and the opportunity, and maybe, just maybe, Ricky Renner will make that mistake and allow Mason to go from P2 to P1.
Yeah, I mean, the way I look at it is Mason certainly has the skills. If he's fast enough, he's going to get up there and he's going to put the work in. But if you're Ricky Renner, I mean, he had the speed to get the pole here tonight, so he's clearly on pace at the very worst, and you just have to be smart. You have to understand that, again, passing here is not going to be easy. If he makes a little mistake and he's a little bit slower in a corner than he could be, or that he'd want to be, it's still got to be a decent opportunity for Mason to even put a nose alongside, because going side by side in these corners, it's treacherous. Like we said, I mean, you can't go to the inside because you got the puddles there. You can't really have any room to the outside because you're already, in the middle of the corner, the guy that you're trying to pass. So to go to the outside of him, you're getting close to the grass on the outside, and maybe some puddles on the outside of the track. So passing is almost null and void here tonight, unless you're going to get it done on the front stretch or on one of these other straightaways, because in the corners you're asking for trouble. So if you're Ricky, all you got to do is just keep that car on the track, keep that car on on the dryer line, if there is one, to try and get some good grip out there, but just keep it pointing in the right direction.
Now, something really interesting also is Ricky is starting to pull the gap just a little bit here, but I just casually happened to look at the lap times just to see how they're running, and the top two right here, Ricky Renner and Mason Smith right now, they both just ran their fastest laps of the race, so they are not slowing down whatsoever. They obviously are showing a lot more confidence right now in their race car. Starting to pull away a little bit is Ricky here, so he's definitely feeling a lot more confident, but again, these guys are running quick. Third place, Jack Stoneman, he just set his fastest lap. Dominique Ford just set his fastest lap. Jose Mari just set their fastest lap. So that tells me that this racetrack is getting faster. Obviously, it's all about confidence then. Where does everybody go? Ricky Renner, he just ran a 2:07.0. So obviously from lap 1, I guess I'll say lap 2, he has picked up a total of 8 seconds overall. So the track is getting quicker, he's getting more confident, but now it's just a matter of those mistakes once again. You got 41 minutes to go. Just be calm, just be smooth, no worry to push it right now, and let Mason Smith get to you. You just run your own race, let him push it, and hope he starts to pull away even more, which is what he's doing right now.
Yeah, I mean, I'll save your breath on who ran their fastest laps of the race, because literally everybody but 4 drivers in the field ran their fastest lap of the race, that last lap right there. So, whether the track is starting to get a quote-unquote racing line developed, or the guys are getting more comfortable, certainly the fuel is burning off and the cars are getting lighter, so that's going to help with them getting a little bit faster, but it's got to be a lot of confidence coming in here and starting to understand, okay, maybe I can just push it a little bit more in this corner and really kind of feel the car. But it looks like Michael Zepp is towed into the pits right now, so he had some kind of issue here. We'll try and take a look right now, and I mean, I didn't see anything. Okay, there it is right there. So just going back.
Oh, yep.
It doesn't seem like much, and you have the tire barrier there. It seems like it bounced off nicely, but any little bump into these tires in the front, it either meatballs it or it makes it undrivable right away. And I mean, if you have an undrivable car in undrivable conditions, yeah, I'd go ahead and tow it myself. So Jimmy, 20 minutes into this race now, and already a fifth of the way through this thing. Actually, maybe if I can math a little bit better, a third of the way through this thing. What are your thoughts? I mean, we obviously together got done running the Spa 24 recently. We've had our experiences and some other endurance races in the rain. Again, this is only a 1-hour race, but anything in the rain, any kind of stint in the rain, feels like an endurance in its own. But again, I mean, the track is certainly, the field is spreading out quite a bit, but all in all, again, the drivers are keeping it on the track.
And a lot of times you see some of your best racing, and this is a great challenge for these drivers, even if they don't get the finish that they want tonight, whether they want to try to get in the top 10 or a top 5 or what it may be, getting out here, getting used to this rain, it's a thing of iRacing, it's in the officials, and so this might help them with their confidence and knowing that they can get out there and actually race inside traffic with the rest of the service, on their off time, and I know that they have the capability to do so, but you're not going to get any better in the rain and how to read the track and what's going on if you don't do it. So to see these drivers out here tonight, all 24 of them come out here and put on a great show, get out here and have some fun doing this good old hobby that we have, and just put on just do what they need to do. It's just looking here, you see a great shot coming down through the S's. You can see that water just sitting on them apexes, just inviting the drivers that come drive through them. Maybe if some of the sideline judges over there were out there, maybe they'd splash them or something, but they're staying away from them right now and trying to just kind of keep pace, keep going, and doing what they need to do. And you talked about some of the times dropping, but obviously last lap, Ricky Renner ran a 2:11, so he went from a 2:07 to a 2:11, and there's Mason Smith right back on his bumper with a 2:08. So run that little bit faster lap, he made a mistake somewhere. So if Mason can keep an eye on that, and we'll see where that weak spot was, he could use that to his advantage here come later in this race.
Yeah, I know my daughter would love these conditions, because anytime it rains real hard around me and we're taking her to school or picking her up, whatever it is. There's setting water along the sides of the road. She likes when I drive through and it splashes up over the side of her window. I don't think any of these guys are enjoying that at all, one bit, and they're going to be once and done here. I think they had a little bit of a break last season. There was I think one race last season where it was supposed to rain. It was like 60 or 70% chance of rain, and no rain came. So it's just it's the luck of the draw, I guess. And some of them were a little disappointed. I'd like to talk to some people now after this race and kind of get their idea, and really all the people that asked and wanted and waited and pleaded iRacing for the rain, and it's been talked about for so long, it's never going to come, and I mean, it's not fun. Well, I can't say it's not fun. It's not easy, is what it is. It is not easy, and it is a completely different animal. And you see right here, points leader overall, Dominique Ford, losing it from 4th place. And the problem is right there, you lose it, you get a little sideways, and very quickly the tires heat up. And it's not easy as he takes out Maori, but that gives Pal Casca 2 spots. Thank you very much. And you see right here, Dominique, you get those tires a little hot, even though it's raining out here, it's cold. You see, they just did not want to turn.
No, not at all. And that was something that you were mentioning, having fun right there. And I can tell you, Dominique Ford, just in that last 10 seconds, was not having fun whatsoever. Because, like what you just said, once you have that spin, the tires are going to think of things completely different. It's just in the grass. It's not on the racing surface. They're going to be hot. They're going to be crazy. They're going to slide, just like you saw him do right there. And maybe what we'll do is, as we see Kelly Pointer here, just overcook it a little bit here, got near that paint, and you can see slipped once again. Yeah, that's something that you really got to be careful with. And maybe we'll be able to check out a replay here soon of why Ricky Renner did lose a lot of time at that one point. I did go back to just take a look, and he did exactly what second place Mason Smith was hoping he would do, and that would be overcook the corner a little bit, which is what he did. He got a little too confident, a little too risky, and there you go. As you see right there, just overcooked it a little too much. Thankfully, didn't have anything to worry about, but once he got in that grass, just like we talked about with Dominique Ford, tires are going to be different, not going to be exactly what you feel. Give it a few laps and warm back up, and something like that is exactly what will happen.
Yeah, I know these guys get bonus points for clean races, or for anything less than 11Xs out here tonight. I think if anybody gets any kind of clean driving bonus points here tonight, I mean they need to get a gold medal for it. It's not easy just to keep this thing in between the lines here, but you're so used to trying to cut corners. You're so used to trying to get on those curbs and on those aprons. The curbs right now, you have to take those completely out of play. You have to pretend that those are not even there, that it's a brick wall right there. You cannot get anywhere close to those curves, anywhere close to any paint. Even some of the paint that's on the track surface, you can feel that it's slick. Even when you go across these grid positions right here on the front stretch, the white lines you see right here coming out of pit road, they are slick. They are like getting on the curbs, and you got to avoid slickness at all costs here tonight. But we're coming up close to the halfway right now. We do have some guys in pits, and that includes your leader, Ricky Renner, already making a pit stop. Maybe a little bit of a short pit here for Ricky, but the problem with this track being so spread out right now, ideally you want to come into the pits. If you're going to come in for a short pit, you want to come out there in clean air and put some good laps down. So the guy that's coming in second is not going to overtake you when he makes his pit stop. But I mean, it's a crapshoot where you got to come out right now.
Yeah, you want to be careful. Obviously, coming down the pits, and you see Renner in there getting some service. Topping off on fuel, get back out there, and hopefully his pit stop's good again. Wind up the engineer, get ready to take off now. So back out on the track he will go. But Mason Smith, currently your leader here at Mugello, and definitely looking forward to hopefully having maybe a better pit entry, maybe making up that little bit of time and taking advantage of getting closer to that halfway point, because we're not quite at the halfway point and you're seeing people pit. So will there be a second pit stop for Ricky Renner?
Well, right now, if you're Mason Smith, this is possibly your one and only chance of making a pass for the lead. It's not going to be on track. It's going to be through the pit cycle right here, and it's going to be the easiest way he's going to have a chance to pass all night. So he's going to have to put in some burner laps, whether he's coming in this time by, next time by, whatever it is. This has got to be his go time right now. He's going to try and put in those fast laps right now to try and pass Ricky Renner on the pit cycle here, and it's the exact same for Ricky. Ricky cannot slouch at all here. He's going to come out. The tires are going to be cooled down here a little bit. He's got to get back out there and try and get him heated up. You would think, you don't want him too hot, certainly, but you need to get out there and you need to get some temperature and you need to get some pressure into those tires to get the full amount of grip, and it's going to potentially take a lap before Renner can do so. So right now is the time that Mason Smith has got to get after it.
Yeah, exactly. He's got clean track right now. He's got that one little bit, actually he's got a couple lap cars in front of him here. But yeah, as he is bringing to pit road, his biggest thing right here is, did he maximize as much as he can right now? He had clean track for a majority there. Looked like it was a very clean pit entry there overall. So question is, how is this going to look on pit exit? Did he gain enough is the real question. Since he got a little bit of draft on pit road there, I don't think it's going to quite help. But still, did he do the best he can? And he had this track. Did he maximize? We will see when Ricky Renner comes out here and see what the difference is like.
It took like a Ricky coming around at the final hairpin right now, so this is the battle for the lead. Still see that 6 is stationary in the pits, and now starting to move, so it's going to be very close on exit. We've seen it yesterday in CSRL. The lead got very close, was side by side heading off into turn number 1, and potentially going to be the same right there. Ricky Renner is going to get by. You see the green of Mason Smith still coming out of the pit, so he is not going to gain position here. He is still going to be in second place and actually lost quite a bit of time back there. Now about 2.5, almost 3 seconds behind Ricky Renner. So really good pit stop and cycle for the 53. And pretty amazing. It was 24-second gap from Mason Smith to Jack Stoneman in third place when he came in here. So there's so much talent here in the field for Core GT that there's potentially 5, 6, 7 different guys that can win every week, and the fact that you kind of have these two that are really separated themselves from the rest of the field. I mean, 2 guys covered by 1.5 seconds right now, even after the pit stops, compared to the next set of guys almost a half a minute behind.
Yeah, there's a lot of consistency by some of those top drivers, and we talked about Macy came back, and he fell back just a little bit, and you seen him fall into the pits behind another driver, and that might have slowed up his overall pit time, pit lane, pit entry, all that stuff, just a little bit. So we're gonna see how Renner kind of manages here, as they are starting to get into lap traffic. So that's gonna play a whole another dynamic here.
Yeah, overall, the lap time for Mason Smith compared to Ricky Renner was about a second slower for Mason Smith, and a lot of that time, about 0.6 of a second, was in the pit stall. So maybe the question is, did Ricky Renner take enough fuel to make it to the end of this race? Because there's certainly a shorter pit stop time. So we'll see how that is going to play out. And Jack Stoneman, your leader right now, is going to come into the pits. And we got about half the guys that have made their pit stops so far here in the race. We are past the halfway point right now. Halfway of these guys finally being able to probably turn off their computers after this and maybe not look at iRacing for a little bit. This thing is just rough out there. But, I mean, again, all in all, I think these guys are doing a fantastic job. Could have been a heck of a lot worse. And still got a long way to go, though. I mean, we still got almost a full half hour yet to get this thing done. But Ricky Renner now resumes his top spot as he turns in a very good lap there as he comes back out with the full fuel. Mason Smith is behind him by about 2 seconds, so you have to try and make up that time again. Maybe Ricky Renner makes a mistake and brings it back in, but those guys, again, with a tremendous gap over the rest of the field. Third place is back there about 20-25 seconds behind the leaders right now, and that is Jack Stoneman in third. From fourth on down, the next few positions are in the pit, so we'll see how that cycles out. Looks like Pal Casca is going to come out in fourth. Dominique Ford right there as well. He's going to come out in fifth place. and just about everybody has made their pit stops. Looks like Ami Vishwasam, Steve Santana, James Molyneux, the only ones that have yet to come into the pits, but just about going to complete our first and probably only pit cycle here tonight at Mugello.
Now, something that really catches me off guard here, just a little bit here, is you just said first and probably only pit stop here. Now, we saw guys like Jack Stoneman and Paul Casca stay out here a little bit. Now, this track, it's just under 3.5 miles long here. That's a lot of fuel right here. And you talked earlier also about Ricky Renner. You know, he was on pit road for a lot shorter of a time, so maybe didn't fill the fuel tank all the way. Who knows? That'll definitely affect the performance of your race car based on the weight. But the question is, like, did Stoneman and Casca stay out there maybe so they don't have to fill the car as much and maybe be a little quicker on this last run? It's going to be a little tricky. And at this point, 26 minutes ago, over halfway, did they build enough confidence where they feel like they could maybe start running the same lap times as the top two here? It's going to be tricky because those top two are like, they're in their own zip code right now. They're just blazing fast right now. So I'll be curious to see how this manages to go here lap time wise, and if for some reason fuel is an issue. I doubt it, but it's always something to keep your eye on.
Well, the thing that also comes into play, and what makes these road races and the time races so tough is, you know very well, Tyler, in oval races, you get halfway, okay, you know how many laps are left. You got 25 laps left, you got 30 laps left, whatever the race distance is. That's how long you got until the end. The only way that's going to change is maybe there's a late caution, you have a green, white checkered where it's going to throw any strategies out the window anyway. In road racing, you get halfway. Okay, how many laps you got left? Do you have 16? Do you have 17? Do you have 15? I mean, you want to talk about trying to figure it out and trying to calculate and trying to figure out how much fuel you need to take. Like you said, almost 3.5 mile long track is a long way to mess up. If you're planning on it being a 15-lap race, all of a sudden it's a 16 because you crossed that line 2 seconds earlier than you should have if you're Ricky Renner. So, I mean, you almost need a real crew chief, not just the iRacing one in here, trying to do some calculations here for you and try and figure out what it's going to take to get this thing all the way to the end.
It looks like our time between Mason and Ricky is kind of stable at the moment. It's bouncing back before just a little bit, right around that 2-second time frame. So Mason's still keeping them in check. Not able to use Renner for any kind of drafting. You see the lap cars now becoming an issue. So it's all about timing and getting a good pass on some of the slower drivers, maybe that are not as efficient in the rain. You can see Abi Bishop-Gossam giving him plenty of room for Mason Smith there to get on by, knowing that the leaders are wearing. I think that's one thing I've noticed for a lot of the drivers out here, Carl, is the drivers watching their relatives and paying close attention to like what's actually going on, like the big picture. Like, all right, here's a couple drivers. I'm slow. I'm running in whatever position. Let me just get out of the way, let them continue to battle, and I'll just keep doing my thing so I can have at least finish tonight. But yeah, you can see the sun seems to be coming up just a little bit. Doesn't seem like it's raining as hard. Obviously, it's not raining. I don't think it's raining right now, but the track is still mighty wet. 30 minutes, the track will not dry, so these drivers won't even be thinking about going a dry tire. And that transition is, we talked about driving in the rain. The transitions between dry, the wet, and wet, the dry are very unique as well. So it's like, when do I go in? How fast can I go? And are these corners drying up? Because if this, not that this race here is going to go dry, but in the case a race would go dry, you got to switch, or you're just going to lose so much time on the track just trying to stay out there on the wet tires.
Yeah, we're in a little pocket of breathing air there. That's why you see the sun out, but now you see right again, we're back into raining conditions. It seems like just as the rain or the race finishes up here, it might start to taper off a little bit, but it's definitely going to be a full wet race for these guys here tonight, which is, like you say, it's kind of a benefit to know that it's just going to be wet the entire time. You're not worried about switching tires because, yeah, that is very crazy, very hectic. I had to deal with that. I think 3 or 4 times in the spot 24, and it sucked every single time. It seemed like it was never timed right when it came to the stints and everything like that. But I mean, again, we have 24 guys out here on the track, a pretty good sized track, about 3 1/4 to 3.5 mile track here. 15 guys on the lead lap, just past halfway. And it's certainly not going to be that many when it comes to the end of this race. There are a ton of guys that could end up being lapped, and you could see maybe only the top 10 by the end of this thing on the lead lap. I mean, it goes to show that the confidence and the skills of both Ricky Renner and Mason Smith out there in front, as they are now 34 seconds ahead of third place. I mean, it's pretty amazing as Dominic Ford makes the pass and moves back into fourth place over Pau Cascas. There's a couple little pockets here and there of some guys battling, and Dominic Ford was the latest one that made the pass and moved up inside the top 5 there. But I mean, there's still some guys he's struggling right there as not sure who that was off the track there. Yeah, Pau Casca. Well, of course, there we go. And that made it a lot easier. I know Dominic was closing in on him, but that made it so much easier.
Definitely a lot easier to take advantage of somebody's mistake, and you've seen it there. And Powell's obviously one of them drivers who can run up front, and was doing a great job right there. Just made that one mistake enough to give Dominique that lick his chops, take that position away, and move into P number 4. Help him continue to keep his points lead for this series. But yeah, right up here, right now, you can see that Mason Smith has closed the gap. He's down to under a second. So back just kind of riding behind Renner, waiting for him to make a mistake. Seeing when it's time for him to push. It's getting down to 20 minutes now, and it might be time to start thinking about, maybe using a lap car or pushing or making a move, making a dive, a late move. Here, we'll see how these two drivers kind of square up when the time comes. But right now, they're off to, like I said, a great lead. There's plenty of time to battle, and they just got to pick and choose when to do it. And Mason might be just waiting for that lap car to get in the way and throw off Renner's line and be able to take advantage with some sort of move. There, so Renner kind of blinking out just a little bit. That does get frustrating, but as the rain conditions can be taxing on one's computer and internet, so so far so good. Everything with everybody spread out. I know my computer is stabilized a lot better, so it's going to be on here very shortly, I think, between these two.
Yeah, I mean, when you have 24 guys all starting right there in the rain, it's going to tax anybody's computer, but now spread out a little bit certainly makes it a little bit easier. And I haven't seen anybody with any connection issues here tonight, unless I missed something. So great to see that everybody was able to hang in there at least this long. But Tyler, I'm going to put you on the spot. I'm going to put you in behind the wheel of the 6 of Mason Smith. You were back there 2 seconds. You didn't get the pass done on the pit cycle, but you fell back there 2 seconds, and all of a sudden you're as close as you've been all night. You're within a half a second. At what point do you start taking a chance? At what point do you start thinking of making a little bit more aggressive moves through these corners, a little bit more aggressive move to try and get that lead? You got a 40-second gap that you can have a little mistake and you're still probably going to be in second place, but when do you start making that move?
Yeah, so it's pretty much kind of like what you just brought up there. 40 seconds. He's got a lot of breathing room to go here. So one little mistake is fine. Obviously, he was just 2 seconds back right there and has quickly made that up. Maybe a little bit of help here from these lap cars who are not going to get out of the way, as Ritter almost just ruined his race right there. Pretty much, at least this is the motto I've always had. I mean, oval is different than road courses, but if you see an opportunity that you think will work, go for it and take it every chance that you get, because you never know if you'll never get the opportunity again. I've been told that plenty of times. I've lost and won races because of that motto pretty much. But yeah, if I were Mason Smith, if you see a gap and it's at I would say a possible passing zone right there, go for it. But if it's something tricky,
may not have to,
as he's gonna go right off and hit the wall, that's a killer right there. Oh my goodness, that's a game changer.
And that was a hard impact to the front left as well. The question is that going to be a meatball for the 53? We'll see if he comes into the pits. He's only got one corner before he does. I can't tell if that front end, it doesn't look too clean out there, and you can see him struggling for a little bit of grip there. So that front left may be compromised, and he may have to come in and take his fast repair. but it looks like he is indeed coming in, and what a change. What a turn of events here for the 53. Now the question is, can Jack Stoneman catch up and have a chance at this? It looks like this is all in the hands of Mason Smith for the win here tonight. A nice little gift there from the 53, but can Ricky get in there and get back out and salvage a podium spot?
It's so hard to tell, if I'm being completely honest. I mean, I just talked about that. He has a big enough gap as you never know what's going to happen. Paul Kowska is not having fun right now whatsoever, but the gap is huge. 40 seconds right now. What do you do? There's only 16, now 17 minutes to go here. Jack Stoneman, he's got
right there,
that pretty much. Yeah, that pretty much now just got the confidence up way for Jack. What do you do here? Do you really push it, or do you really hope Mason Smith makes a mistake? At this point, the gap is so large, I would think the smartest thing is just to continue to run your race and hope something goes wrong for the leader right here. You never know. There's still 60 minutes to go. That's still a lot of time to go, especially at this racetrack where the rain still has not let up whatsoever. So if I were Mason Smith, I mean, not a lot of time. Just be smooth. Don't push it like he did with Ricky Renner. Did he force him into a mistake? I would be really interested to know if that's what he did, or if that was just maybe a slight driver error. But I mean, who knows? This race, I'm not gonna say it's wide open now, but it's a lot more unknown at this point.
Well, it looked like he was struggling to get around right here at the lap car, Sam White, and it kind of lit up those back tires a little bit. And the next couple corners, he got a little bit sideways, and I feel like he heated those up a little bit and kind of killed it, and, well, literally killed it into the wall.
Al Casca in the pits along with Nathan Slides. Or Slides. Sides, not Slides.
Tonight for sure. So now I'll put you on the Jimmy. I'll put you on the spot this time. Now you're Jack Stoneman. You're in the 49. You were sitting back there. You're riding your own race for majority of this thing. You were back there, 30, 40 seconds, but you were in the clear. You're in a podium spot. Now all of a sudden you're in second. You got Ricky Renner that just came out of the pits, and he's probably going to be gaining on you on these last couple laps. How hard can you defend? How hard are you trying to push here to try and keep into second place here, or are you content just letting that 53 on by and grabbing a third place here tonight?
If I'm Jack, knowing that my pace was not that of Mason Smith or Ricky Renner, probably if Ricky can get to the back here of Jack Stoneman, I'm gonna go ahead and just maybe defend for just a little bit and see how much of a speed gap that he actually has on me, and try to hold him off, especially coming down here to the late portions of the race. But I think I'm gonna just let it just happen. I mean, just let it happen, so I can still get that podium finish, still get a great finish here. Third place is not anything to shake a stick at here at Mugello, especially in the rain.
Yeah, hell, I think a top 10 here tonight is nothing to shake a stick at. Is just surviving this thing is gonna get you a good finish here. And really, we got just about everybody still on the track. I mean, we joked about it in the early onset here, how many guys were gonna rage quit out before the green flag, let alone after a couple laps. And really, we only have looks like maybe 2 guys not out there on the track. The rest of the 22 are still out there in one shape or another. Maybe not going the correct direction for some of them, but they're still out there and putting in laps. And it's what you got to do. It may not be fun out there. You see Tyler Kokeko going sideways again here in the BMW. It may not be fun for you out there. It may just be taxing. You may be pulling out your hair. You may be hopefully not damaging your equipment, both the car virtually or your actual IRL equipment, but you got to get used to it. You got to figure it out, because it's not going to be the last time that there's a race in the rain, whether it's here in the Core GT series, whether it's in another series, whether it's in officials, an endurance race, anything like that. You're going to have to experience it one time or another. And it's the same thing like for me and Jimmy, we always joke about how much we hate short tracks.
Yes.
Eventually we're going to have to race on them. Eventually we're going to have to deal with it. And you see right here.
Well, I'm not.
Can't make me. See, an easier pass this time for Renner on the lap car, and he is slowly but surely gaining on Jack Stoneman, but slowly but surely we are finishing up this thing as we are getting close to the 10-minute mark here as we got about 12 and a half minutes left in this race. So far, Tyler, what are your thoughts here of the Core GT series?
I mean, it's wild. I mean, what a great way to throw myself into this booth here for the first time, because you got to experience so much. But yeah, I mean, you brought this up earlier here. These are some really, really good race car drivers that we've seen right here. Some great battles, especially for the lead. Especially even in these conditions, you gotta change your strategies. That really shows that. I mean, some of these guys don't have crew chiefs. Most of these guys probably don't have crew chiefs, so they basically have two roles for themselves. Some will have a spotter every now and then, but you got them calculating, how much fuel they're gonna need, while they're in the driver's seat. So, and we've seen also drivers make some mistakes. Ricky Renner, had that instant go there, but it's not like, that shows his toughness. He keeps it going. He's still looking to chase down a second place. Probably not what he wants overall here, which is definitely unfortunate. He was so good today overall here. But it's 11 minutes to go. It's never over until it's over. You never know what's going to happen. But I mean, this series, it's wild. It's a lot of fun. These drivers are just really, really good.
Well, for Ricky, it's a testament to the lead that him and Mason build up, that he can have an incident like that, have to come in the pits and make a second pit stop to take that fast repair, still come out in third place and have a chance yet at second place. It's still not over. But right now, your top five, Mason Smith, Jack Stoneman, Ricky Renner, Dominic Ford, and Saj Padiyar doing a great job out here in the 27 Corvette. And it's one thing that's cool about this GT series, and I say it every once in a while over in CSRL too, is you get to see so many different car manufacturers out here. I mean, we got the Porsche leading. Certainly, the Porsche and the Ferrari are it seems like the cars to beat right now. It's what a lot of people are trending to. But you certainly have some guys that like the newer cars here. You're looking at the Corvette. Surprisingly, I don't see anybody in the Ford Mustang out here tonight, but you got a Lamborghini there, and Dominic Ford has a Lamborghini there in fourth. You got Sam White, the McLaren that we were taking a look at earlier, back there in 11th place. You got Nathan Nickerson was out there. He's in fourth place right now in the Audi. So it's cool seeing all these different cars out there. And Jimmy, I mean, one thing that we do, I'm not sure if John does it for the CRN Nation out there, but I think it's time to do what we do best and just sit back, listen to the sights and sounds here of the Core G series, and give everybody out there a little love to hear it.
A few minutes of love to hear it as we wrap this thing up. Coming up.
Lights and sounds here at Mugello with the rain. Mason's still out to a nice 41-second lead. Jack Stoneman in P number 2 with Ricky Renner hot on his tails. This thing is about to get live and hot here for the final laps with only 4 minutes to go. Can Ricky make up his mistake, and even after pitting, still finds himself on that hot P number 3?
Yeah, it's amazing with all these cars on this track. You'd think there'd be some battling for position somewhere or another, and really the closest battle we have on the track right now is back for 19th and 20th between James Molyneux and John Crane. But other than that, I mean, your leader, 41 second lead over Jack Stoneman, who's got a 7-second lead over Ricky Renner. And, from Ricky Renner on back, another 32 seconds back to Dominique Ford. That is your points leader. Your points leader, Dominique Ford, is almost a minute and a half off pace here tonight. And it's these conditions. These conditions will humble the best of them out there. But still salvaging a top 5, and that's what you got to do. You got to make the best of a bad situation. That's exactly what Dominique Ford is doing out here tonight. Saj Pottier in 5th place. Jack Peterson, Braden Carlson, Jose Maury, Paul Casca, and Sam White rounding out your top 10. But you see it there, 9 guys on the lead lap, and this thing is not over just yet. Should be 2 to go this time right now, and Mason Smith should be seeing the 1 to go next time by.
Go back there. Paul Casca just made a pass there on Jose Murray. Murray got wide there.
Yeah, you see why right there.
Ooh.
And still wasn't exactly easy. You see Maury trying to just get the power back to that Porsche before he makes any kind of move back onto the track. But that's another thing that I've seen here tonight. For the guys that do go off track, they're being smart about coming back on track, and it's something that you don't see that often in officials and even in some other series sometimes, where you just they come back on track wherever and however they want to, and could end up killing somebody else because of it. So a good job by these guys, having a little bit of awareness by coming back on track the right way. And as we said, 2 minutes left in this race. Mason Smith should be seeing the white flag this time by. You see it right there, Barney, in your top corner there. White flag in the air. These guys mercifully will only have to go around this track one more time. And I guess for the guys that are lapped down right now, they're not really too worried about being a lap down. They're just happy they don't have to go around an extra lap here tonight. Exactly.
Jack Stoneman gets in an incident here late.
I was just about to point that out because I just saw his time go
right
way down. Oh, just overshot the corner.
Gets on the curb, a little slide, but he gets back going, and right there.
Oh, there's Renner right there.
Ricky Renner. That is, it wasn't Ricky Renner they pulled out in front of, but Ricky Renner is there now. So last lap on the track here. And, now, Jimmy, I don't think you have any time to figure out if he's got pace or not. Now you're going to have to defend because it is 1 lap to go here for Jack Stoneman. And we do have a battle on the track. We got something to watch here, Jimmy.
Yeah, white flag lap. What a time to make a mistake. It was all in the hands there. For Stoneman has his hands full with Ricky Renner now wanting to get that spot back. You can see Stoneman just pushing that Ferrari as hard as he can, probably trying to every single inch, trying to get his fastest lap, his best lap, trying to keep Renner back behind him and not take away something he's earned so much. And I'm sure Renner would love to get his lead back after his mistake, but here it is coming down to the final few corners.
Time is going to be ticking off here again. That last lap here on the track, as don't want to blinking out there. We don't want to be doing that in the last lap, especially in these conditions. But he's only got about a half a track, about 1.5 miles to defend here for second place. Mason Smith going to be coming around at the final corner here in a second, getting close to a lap car there. I believe that was a B. Vishwasam on the outside. But Mason Smith coming out of the final corner right now. He is going to be your winner here tonight at Mugello and survive this thing at the top step of the podium. Second and third place still to be determined, and still got a few corners left. Some mistakes there by Stoneman, but right behind him, a bigger mistake by Renner as he tried to get everything out of that, and now he is going to have to get that thing back on track before Well, no, Dominic Ford pretty far back. Never mind. He's still pretty far back. So Renner is going to be able to get it on track, and with a clean last couple quarters here by Stoneman, he is going to finish in second. Renner in third, but man, I mean, throwing everything at it there was Renner, and he's Stoneman making some mistakes at the same time. But what a finish to this thing, and what a heck of a race here, and just again survive, just get this thing home. But what a run by Mason Smith. Really not putting anything wrong here tonight. He is your winner and gets that thing home and clean here tonight. Jack Stoneman coming around the final corner now. He is going to be finishing. Actually, he already came around the final corner. He's in second. Coming around the final corner is Ricky Renner. He is going to complete the podium out here tonight. And you see most of the field already finishing up because they were a lap down. So we're just waiting for the rest of the top 7 to come home. Looks like Dominic Ford going to finish in fourth as he comes around the final corner. Saj Padiyar, a good run for him, and the 27 coming around the final corner as well. Going to round out the top 5. And then looks like Peterson and Carlson are not done battling here to the end, as this thing is not over. We may have another battle on our hands as the battle for 6th and 7th coming into the final corners. And we got a chicane and a hairpin yet to decide this thing. So another UNOH driver trying to get some camera time, and he put a little battle on our hands here with Jack Peterson trying to hold him off through the final corners here. Just got to keep it clean for one more hairpin, and he'll have 6th place here tonight.
Yeah, you just see these drivers still battling out, obviously, here. Just even, not in the lead, trying to finish this thing strong, and there goes
not over yet. Run to the inside there from Carlson. Can he win the drag race down the front stretch side by side? 6th and 7th place. There's so much mist, I can't tell who is going to get this thing at the line. It's going to be Peterson by 0.05 seconds. And that is rounded up from 0.049 altogether. What a run there to the end for 6th and 7th. Rounding out the rest of the top 10, Jose Maury, Kelly Pointer, and Sam White. But what a run there to the end. Well, it took an hour, maybe a little bit more than an hour, but we had one hell of a run there to the end for 6th.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you expect by any of these drivers out there, especially towards the end. It's, no holds barred, try to get that last spot, a couple extra points of the season, and just overall, just great battling. It's a great feeling when you can go side by side with somebody, especially to have a drag race down the front stretch. So hats off to Peterson for just nudging out Braden there just a little bit. So, but great racing overall by all these drivers. We've seen a few slip-ups, a little getting wide. A couple people had to go into pits. They did have that fast repair to kind of give them that mulligan, that second chance to get a decent finish here tonight. Like we've seen Renner come back and finish in P number 3, almost get P number 2. So, yeah, it was just a great overall experience here tonight at Mugello.
Tyler, final thoughts here on the race here and what you just experienced here for the Core GT series.
It's just wild. I mean, that's pretty much the simplest way to say it. I mean, it was a fantastic showing from Mason Smith. He just did everything he needed to do, ran smooth, stayed in tow with Ricky Renner, and it was a good battle there for second. Ricky tried his best to just, get everything he can to get back to second place. Good battle there for 6th place. Obviously, the photos finished there. Just tons of fun. And I appreciate you guys for bringing me up here. It's been a ton of fun. Can't wait to hopefully do some more here. And if this is what all these races are going to be like, boy, it's going to be wild.
Yeah, you're welcome, I guess is what we could say for getting into this series here. We got our own series that we cover on Thursday nights, just on a hiatus right now, so it was nice to be able to hop in here and help out John and cover this race, because it was entertaining, that's for damn sure. But we got our 3 guys in here for the podium and get ready to get them in here for the interviews. Bring in 3rd place first, and that's going to be Ricky Renner, and we'll let Jimmy get all caught up here, and then we'll let him go ahead and take our 3rd place finish here tonight. I mean, it was a great race. I still can't believe 22 guys. I mean, we're still running here at the end of this race, so kudos to all these guys, but top three here are the cream of the crop, and they made it by the quickest. I guess that's all you can say. They survived the best. But third place tonight is going to be
That's out of my element.
53 of Ricky Renner. And Jimmy, why don't you go ahead and take our third place finisher?
Hey, Ricky, it's Jimmy, Carl, and Taylor, or Tyler, in the booth. Do you copy, buddy?
Yeah, what's up, guys?
Hey, not much. Hey, you got out here. I see you got some Rain-X there on the front of that Porsche machine, and you got yourself the pole. We're having a fantastic race, and then you just had a little bit of trouble with some lap traffic, kind of sending you around, kind of causing your race to kind of go by the wayside. But you had a pretty good comeback, almost enough to get past Stoneman. So it made for a fantastic viewing here up in CRN booth. But we wanted to kind of get your side of the story. How was your 1 hour race down there at Mugello tonight?
Yeah, first off, I got to thank the whole pit crew out there for watching the radar. Track condition was key for qualifying, and we got out there and got some good laps when it was drier. So we got to start up front, and I was surprised at the first half. Had a good pace, and it looked good. Eventually, we lost it through the S's, but no, it was a really fun one. It was challenging. The track would dry out some, and then at next lap it would be completely flooded, so the conditions were all over the place. But being from Florida really helped. I drive in that every day, so it felt good.
I live in Florida as well. The rains are coming this weekend. If you haven't watched the news lately, I'm sure we'll have our share of rain and puddles on the streets as well. But yeah, definitely some good driving out there. A lot of diversity. That rain is one of the things that all these iRacers kind of wished for. Me, I kind of cringed a little bit because I know how some drivers can be, but it does make for a lot of fun. It is, for the most part, pretty realistic, especially with all the puddling down the apexes, making it more challenging for you drivers out there. But you walk away tonight with that third place finish, and it's got to feel good here, after an hour, because I know it can feel like an eternity out there with conditions like that. But before we let you go celebrate with your friends and family, give some time for any shouts they may have out there.
Yeah, I got to thank the whole Next Gen Motorsports Pogo Porsche team, my other guys out there, Eric Martin, Nathan Nickerson, our crew chief over there, Josh Betts, our designer, Kevin Davis. Got the car looking great, and all of you guys for putting this race on in the series. It's been a blast, and maybe we get some more rain. That seems to be where my pace is. It's a little out of my element, but we came crashing back down to earth the second half. But it's fun to be able to run up front sometimes. So, but thank you guys for putting this on, and it's been awesome.
I got about 20 other drivers that are probably going to be looking at that comment right now and putting a target on your back for just saying that.
Well,
that's okay. That's okay. We have the results to back it up.
We might have a little bit of influence. Maybe we can give it at least a 50% chance of another track somewhere. So in either case, again, congratulations on that third place finish, and we'll let you get out of here and go celebrate with your friends and family.
Thank you, guys.
That is your third place finisher tonight, the 53 of Ricky Renner. And yeah, the weather is set for the rest of the season, but weather changes, right, Jimmy?
It does. It sure does. No weatherman I know on any weather channel has been 100% correct.
Exactly. All right, second place here tonight is going to be the 49 of Jack Stoneman. And Tyler, why don't you go ahead and take our second place finisher here tonight?
Yeah, Jack Stoneman bringing it home here in P2. I would say it's pretty wild overall here. You definitely had yourself a quite a wild race. Had a lot of things fall your way, also kind of not fall your way. So go ahead and take us through your race here overall.
Yeah, there was a lot that happened in this race. It's kind of hard to keep it quick, but to sum it up, we start the race. Track is completely flooded. There is not a single bit of grip whatsoever, so everybody's all over the place. Everybody's blind. Only thing I can see is just brake markers, and that's about it. But as the race goes on, the track starts to dry up a bit and gets a little bit easier to drive. Then all of a sudden, if you look at the radar, the rain's going back and forth, back and forth. It's so unpredictable to figure out what's going to happen. One lap, you can be doing some pretty fast laps, being very confident in the throttle. Next lap, you are basically drifting every single corner. So it was definitely a difficulty. managing my throttle when you can't even control the traction control in these cars, unfortunately, due to fixed setup. And then, I was trying to pull away from the 91. We were kind of keeping pace with each other, and I don't know what happened to him. I don't know if he spun. I got to check the replay, but it's kind of just running my own pace, telling myself like, okay, take it nice and easy. It'll be all right. But, after a pit stop, whatnot, saw Ricky Renner had to go into the pits. I don't know if he had an issue or whatnot, but from that point on, it was just kind of managing my position, not making mistakes. It was looking all right until 2 to go when I had a nice little spin finally, and I kind of made a very bad entry onto the track and kind of slowed a bunch of people down. But coming to the final lap, I think Ricky Renner made a mistake, and I was able to pull away with the P2. But definitely, probably one of the more challenging races that I've had in my high racing career. But it was a lot of fun overall. I learned a lot about this track after driving this track for the first time 2 days ago. All these guys here in this league, it's a lot of fun. Everybody was super competitive, super chill, and whatnot. But I don't know. I would just say thank you so much to being part of UNOH eMotorsports, having this opportunity to represent the school I go to for the University of Northwestern Ohio. Thank you to my friends, Braden Carlson, Jack Peterson, Sam White. Those guys are so chill. Love them all. Also, shout out to my dad who is watching the stream right now and is supporting me all the way through. I'm just so happy right now when you get your second race for you in core history and finish P2. It's something to be proud of. So I'm very happy with how it all turned out overall.
Now, Jack, I really wanted to ask you this question because I was thinking about this, at least especially the top three as the race was going on here. But you were talking about the pressure and all that and being able to adapt to these different conditions. At some points in the race, we saw it was downpouring, especially on lap 1. At the end of this race, it was also downpouring. But in the middle, there were times where we would see half the racetrack in the wet, while we were also seeing half the racetrack in the dry. So you guys were having to readjust your lines, maybe rethink different things. So what was the pressure kind of like, knowing that you had to go through so many of these different changes?
Yeah, that's what's incredible with when iRacing first released this update for rain. It's so weird, again, how I was mentioning how the racing line can change all the time, but mostly what I was doing is going into this race, every lap, I'd kind of just examine the line, figure out, does it look wet? Does it not look wet? Looking at reflected parts of the track, but it definitely gave a challenge, mainly because this race is only an hour long. It's not a 6, 12, 24-hour race, so you got to keep going. And also, a lot of the competitive guys were running the Porsche, which from what I've heard has been a very stable car. I was driving the Ferrari, which did not help out my case whatsoever. The Ferrari was pretty unstable when it came to the wet parts of the track. It was like, I felt like I was driving on ice every single time. It was nearly impossible to drive, but regardless, I pushed through. But yeah, it's definitely a challenge, not even just for me, but for all these drivers, regardless of what car you're driving, trying to figure out, because again, the racing line is changing every single time. You cannot run the racing line. If you even touch the curb, you touch the paint, that's it, you're done. You're going to probably hook it into the wall, call it race done. So the best thing that these drivers can do is just take it nice and easy. Just remind themselves like, hey, you got an hour to go. No need to win it on the first lap. So just patience I think was the key for a lot of people, including me.
All right, Jack. Well, we appreciate your time talking to us right here. Hopefully you had a lot of fun. Go ahead, celebrate friends, family, crews, sponsors, everybody that you know. Great run today.
Thank you so much, Tyler.
That is your second place finisher, the number 49 of Jack Stoneman. And your winner here tonight is going to be the 6 of Mason Smith. Excuse me, Mason. A good run out here tonight. Obviously, you survive out here, and it looks like the rain's finally let up. You guys are done, so it makes perfect sense. I mean, you guys you had a torrential downpour this entire race. It had little breaks in the radar here and there, but you were not getting any kind of let up here, and you were not given any kind of let up to Ricky in the beginning of that race. You were right there and hounding him the entire time. When the pit stops happened, you came back out there 2 seconds behind. Did you feel like your potential your passing opportunity was gone at that point?
No, well, I just, Ricky and I think who finished third, Jack. They both had excellent rain pace tonight. But yeah, I just, there was just, like you said, with the passing opportunities, it's just, there's such little, so I just had to, keep my cool and just not make any mistakes and just let it come to me and just play it out, and that's what happened. With it being a rain race, and it was just smooth sailing, literally, with all the water that's on the track.
Yeah, and it's I like we've said, I'm still getting used to it myself, is kind of relearning the track and relearning where you need to drive, because you cannot really drive on the racing line at all. You got to drive on those outside the corners, but it made passing very, very difficult. How was it out there for you? Did you feel like if you caught the 40, not the 49, the 53 there of Ricky Renner, that you'd have a chance to pass him? I mean, there's other than the front stretch here, was there any real passing opportunities that you felt safe at making?
No, not at all. Not at all. Because there's if there's puddle on the right side, there's puddle on the left side coming down to turn one. You really could only break down on the inside. It's just there's just so little passing opportunities in the wet. It's you have to wait until they make a mistake to where you can get a run off the next corner, And even then, you have to they'll probably want you passing on the outside where it's slippery. And again, it's just it's all about staying safe out there and picking at the right time to pass. I didn't get to do that to Ricky because he had the pace tonight, but it was just it was a matter of waiting at the right time to finally get in front. And that you saw, that's what happened to Ricky when he made that huge mistake there. Unfortunate to him, he still finished third, but those opportunities like that, it's probably very rare, or it can happen. Well, mostly it can happen a lot in the rain, but with his pace, I feel like it was a very rare mistake for him.
Well, you get it done here tonight. You get a nice win here, and points leader Dominique Ford does get the top 5 there, finishes in 4th, but you got to feel like at the very least you survived here tonight, and picking out a win here at this track. It's not the easiest track, even in the dry conditions, but in the wet it was treacherous out there tonight. So this has got to feel like 2 or 3 wins wrapped into one.
Yeah, I feel I finally got that win. Was just it was a long time coming to get that win, but I got to keep up here and try and pick up another one, trying to finish ahead of Dom, because he's very quick and he knows that too. And just try and get ahead of him next week at I think it would be Imola or something. But there's competitors out there.
Well, congrats again on the win here tonight. Before we let you go, anybody you want to give a shout out to or thanks to?
To you in the broadcast, welcome back, Carl.
Yeah.
And to my family and all the support, to all that just watch the race and watch me every week. It's a big commitment to do that, so I appreciate them for always tuning in and watching and seeing me race.
We certainly appreciate it, and you put on a good show every time you're out there. And it was amazing how far you two, both you and Ricky, stretched out compared to everybody else there for majority of the race. You guys were certainly the class of the field. So congrats on the pace out here tonight and the win. And we'll let you go dry off and celebrate this win a little bit. And we'll see you next week.
All right, thank you.
That's your overall winner here tonight, the 6 of Mason Smith. We got 2 more interviews we're going to knock out here. We'll take in the winners of both the silver and the bronze division, and we'll start with the silver division winner here tonight, and that is Sahaj Padiyar, driver of the number 27. Sahaj, no James Pierce out here tonight. I'm sure you were happy to see that, first of all, in regards to the points, but you weren't exactly off pace here tonight. Well, maybe I shouldn't say that compared to the top two guys, maybe, but I mean, top five overall. It's got to feel really good for you being in the silver division here, coming away with the top five.
Yeah, it feels good getting a top five, especially since the top two are. I feel like they're cheating. I feel like they got GTEs, and I would like a slice of that. But that was a solid, just steady race.
Yeah, for quite some time there, Casca was up there in the top five as well, and it seemed like he was going to be able to be the top guy in the silver. But you were the one that survived out there, and it seemed like that was kind of the magical word tonight: just survive and keep that thing on the track.
Yeah, survival. Like, I feel like after lap one, survival was the only thing I cared about. Because lap one, I was probably causing a lot of problems, but we were just going to ignore that. We're starting P17.
You did move up 12 spots.
Well, we'll see what happens on the review part of it, but yeah, either way, like I said, I mean, a great run out here tonight, and I mean, one of the few drivers that didn't get lapped out here tonight, so you gotta probably feel good about that too. I mean, there's 7 guys on the lead lap after this. It's not something that you typically see in the GT series.
Yeah, I feel like the rain is just such a huge curveball, especially with how it was so on and off at the start and end of the race, just picking up more and more.
Well, next week,
So
you
much
guys
attrition.
should be a little bit drier. I don't know if you're going to completely dry out by next week, but heading to Imola next week. What are your thoughts on the track right there? It's not a track that typically gets seen too much.
Imola is one of my favorite tracks. I shouldn't say that because that means I'm probably going to spin out, but
There it is. Kiss of death right there.
yeah. I'll be upside down lap one just for you. But yeah, Imola, I enjoy that track. I do need to change everything about my driving style to keep up with those top two. That's like the end goal I got right now for this season. So we'll see. We'll see if I can keep up.
Well, absolutely. I mean, still plenty early in the season to shake everything down, but a nice run here tonight, a nice top five for you here. So congrats on that. Before we let you go, who do you want to give a shout out to or thanks to?
Well, shout out to you guys for putting on a great show every week. I watch all the broadcasts. And everyone that showed up today, I think we only have like 20 guys. I thought 40 people signed up for this wonderful wet race. But yeah, just you guys for putting on a great show. Thank you.
Yeah, a lot of scared money out there tonight for sure. 24 guys showed up here tonight, but you get it done here tonight. Congrats again on the top five. Go celebrate, and we'll see you next week at Imola.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
That's your top finisher in the silver division of the 27, of Sahaj Badiar. Top man in the bronze division, top man back-to-back weeks now, and your points leader coming in, CJ Conklin, finishing in 16th place here tonight. CJ, another good run for you here, and certainly going to help and benefit you in the points here. Plenty early in the season, but you get done with a track here, and you're top man in the bronze division on pretty much the most treacherous conditions out there. How does it feel to finally just get out of the car tonight?
Man, it was a fun night. I love this track. I unfortunately practiced in moderately rain, but this heavy rain was pretty brutal. But I found my groove, and then when it dried up, was getting faster, and then another heavy rain storm came in, and had to readjust.
Yeah, it seemed like I seen a brief little respite there, and sunshine came through for a second, and then just right back to the rain for you guys. But I mean, just really treacherous conditions out there the entire time. Was the mindset just keep that thing in between the runoffs there on every single lap? Was there any thought to pick up the pace at all? Were you getting a little bit more comfortable later in the race?
I was getting comfortable until that heavy storm came back in, and then I was doing pretty well with no incidents, and then I got 5 incidents trying to readjust. So, but the 172 Speed Design Porsche GT3 did well. I enjoyed the car. I picked it at last minute. I was going to run my Audi as usual, but knowing this rain, I needed something a little more stable, and it did pretty well.
Yeah, that did. Again, you finish 15th here and actually 16th and tops in the bronze division. So right where you need to be. Next week is Imola. Any experience there at Imola? You looking forward to it? Is there a newer track for you?
I've never run that track. I guess I got to get busy.
Absolutely, you got to try and make it a three-peat here in the bronze. So, congrats again on the finish here. Who do you want to give a shout out to or thanks to before we let you go?
Of course, my wife for letting me do this and not complaining, and Speed Designs endurance team.
All right. Well, once again, congrats on the finish here tonight. We'll see you next week at Imola.
Thank you.
That is your 16th place finisher and top man in the bronze division, the 172 of CJ Conklin. Once again, I just got to send a congrats out to everybody that braved it out here tonight. The 22 that actually finished it out here tonight. The speed that was for some of these guys, and really, I mean, I didn't see too much calamity out there. There were certainly some guys that went off track, but they were really good with the mindset of getting it back on track safely and not taking out a bunch of cars. And I want to go back and watch the beginning of this race and watch how crazy and chaotic it was heading off into turn one. And maybe I shouldn't do it now. I mean, it's 11 o'clock for me, and I'm going to be going to bed soon. I want to have nightmares of doing that. But certainly, at some point, I'm going to watch that back. I promise. But I mean, great race out here. It was fun to get back in the Core GT series. Jimmy, what are your final thoughts here?
Just like you said, having all the drivers come out here to actually tackle the rain, and it's a learning experience. As you can tell, you're just talking to a few of the other drivers and the other classes, I guess, if you want to break it down as that. But the adjustments, the finding not only the fastest line, but then what's the fastest line, not the optimal line. So it's definitely a big difference. It's something they'll be able to have in their toolbox or their lunch bag or fanny pack, whatever you want to have alongside for knowledge of going into each and every race. So you just kind of add to your resume and you get that stuff underneath your belt. You don't become fast overnight. There's plenty of things out there. There's people that help, and there's ways to think about it. And sometimes you're going to plateau, and you got to work your way through that. So this is just one of those things that can help you. So, but yeah, congratulations to everybody out there. And I mean, everybody. Everybody did a fantastic job. Obviously, you're going to have your mistakes, especially in the rain, and I'm sure we'll get through that and review all that, and points will be adjusted accordingly. But it's. I think overall, Carl, I think the race here tonight was a success.
Yeah, absolutely. It was not going to be easy, regardless with the amount of rain that was coming down here tonight. And I will tell everyone out there that it should be clear next week, but maybe not. 23% chance of rain as of right now. I'm not going to touch the weather. I'm going to let it be, but it is a 23% chance of rain for next week. So never know. They could end up starting with a wet track and it dries up. Could be the opposite. May not see anything at all, but you're going to have to tune in to CRN and find out yourself. So if you haven't done so yet, hit that like and subscribe. Get in touch with everything that CRN has to offer and join the CRN Nation. It's a lot of great racing here on the channel here. And I mean, toot our own horn as much as you want, because last night was great with CSRL at the dry track in Mugello. Tonight, completely different story here in the wet, and you see it every week. It's fantastic, and there's some really good drivers out here, really good competition. I want to thank Tyler for hopping in here tonight, and like I said, he should be hopping in with John for the rest of the season, who will be back next week covering the Core GT series as usual. Jimmy, thanks for hopping in the booth with me once again. It's always fun getting in here, and certainly a little bit drier and safer up here in the booth watching these guys out here tonight. But for myself, Jimmy, and Tyler here in the CRN booth, we'll see you at the track.
Peace.